Well, hello, everybody. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Good. Hi, everyone. This is Randy Hopkins. I'm with Komprise. We are an intelligent data management software solution. We're based in Campbell, California. Today, I have with me our senior systems engineer, Paul Romano. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Good.
Morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah.
Wherever you're up today.
So you're in New Jersey, and today I actually am in balmy Denver. It's like 40 degrees below freezing. It's crazy. One of these days, you and I are going to do this in person, so that'll be kind of fun.
Okay.
Maybe soon, right? So anyway, welcome to TechKrunch at Komprise. TechKrunch is where we bite into topics and questions from you, and we do a quick demonstration of a functionality or a use case that our audience has asked us to do. So we take a technical approach. We always try to show a demo, and we try to keep it very, very short, like about 7 minutes, so that you can leverage the library of content in the future if you just want to find a quick data point. So today's is not going to be a highly technical one. We're going to use a very simple analysis to show you some ROI and how Komprise is. You can leverage the Komprise Global Index to find data and leverage that data to build an ROI. So that's what we're going to do today. One of the key questions our customers ask us is, hey, can you save us money so that we can apply that savings to other areas in our business? And can you show us an ROI? Can we use Komprise to help build an ROI to justify doing different things with our data and right placing that data? And the answer is yes, you can do that. A lot of folks might have a storage refresh coming up, and so they'll deploy Komprise, do the planning with Komprise, so they'll know about their data, which data they want to migrate, which data they want to tier, what's hot, what's cold, what type of profiles, who has data, and things like that. So you definitely can leverage Komprise to do that. And we're going to show you exactly how to leverage Komprise to build some ROIs. And so what Paul's going to do is he's going to pop into a demo, and he's going to log into our Komprise director and leverage our tools and the Komprise famous donut and show you the cost model built in. And then I'm going to show you another method of taking that same data and putting it into a spreadsheet. So let's go live with Paul, and Paul's going to show us a little bit about our UI and how folks leverage our UI to do the ROIs. So, hey, Paul.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate that. Let me just share my screen real quick here. And
I think you can. Maybe do I have to end the slides?
It's not letting me.
Okay, let's see if you can share your screen.
Oh, you gotta love live demos here. Try it again. Share screen, entire screen. And I don't have permission for some reason, I guess.
You don't have permissions, huh? Well, then what we will do is
why don't you bring up yours, and then I'll just do it from yours.
Yeah, I'll bring up mine then. Yeah, okay.
Huh. Wait, I just got it. Figured it out.
Yeah, mine is actually sluggish too. I was going to share my screen, but it's kind of sluggish.
It's all right. I got it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so here we are, folks. Sorry about that. Technology.
Hey, that's what happens when you go. That's what happens when you do it live.
You're live. That's right. There's the proof we're live. Anyway, once you point Komprise at storage within your environment, you start seeing the population of this lovely circle that we call the Komprise donut. It is a heat map based on the access time of the files, the NAS files shares that we've been pointed to. So basically, you get a heat map of the access patterns of the data. We start with red for hot.
I'm going to interrupt a little bit. We're allowed to do that because this is going to be like a conversation. Yeah. So yeah, what this is it's a global file index or a catalog of all of the files in all of the silos and all of the ecosystems. And in our environment here, we have actually 4 different locations, 4 different cities. And it's one view of everything, all your Windows files, all your Unix files. And so it's kind of a cool way of looking at that data.
That is correct, Randy. It's a data lake. I mean, we call it the Komprise data lake. We're looking at right now 9 shares in the environment. So we've pointed Komprise at 9 different shares, both NFS and SMB shares in the environment. And we're showing you this holistic heat map of the access patterns of those shares. And as I was saying earlier, we go from red for hot, we go all the way down and around to dark blue for cold. And if you hover over each of these sections, you get all kinds of information that tells you about how the size, the space that the data is using up, how many files are in it, what percentage of the total amount of data it takes up, et cetera, et cetera. Another thing that's neat about this donut is if you really don't care about certain time frames, you can just turn them off, and the donut updates quickly, and do the same thing as well. In addition to this donut, we also provide some more granular detail around the analytics on our usage tab here. And if you see here, we also break down this data and show it as space consumed by file type, by file size, by top owners, by top groups, top directories, and top shares. So you get this information. This is part of the initial analytics that we provide when we go out there and analyze your NAS infrastructure. Again, both NFS and SMB, it doesn't matter what platform, we're providing a holistic view into that environment. But once you get this analytics information, it's time to start making decisions on this. As we said earlier, Komprise is an analytics-driven storage management platform. We believe in analyzing the data first, then making decisions. So the first thing we tell customers to do is go into our built-in Tco Modeler. And so I would say here, you go in here and we edit this, and we have some default numbers put in here for whether we're going to archive to cloud or whether we're going to archive to an on-prem target. And we also have default numbers for the cost of around storage hardware, and backup software. We always encourage our customers, please, Mr. Customer, go in here and change these numbers to make them more realistic for your environment. So you see here, I'm just putting in the changes into this Tco Modeler. And basically, once you put these numbers and these changes in and I save it, if you'll notice these numbers here on the right-hand side of the screen, they're going to change. And it changed real time. And we make this information available to you readily. We also provide information down here. You'll see here on the savings details, we provide all sorts of information with regards to how much you're going to save over a 3-year projection. And again, this changes real time as you change the information in our Tco Modeler.
Hey, Paul,
how does this benefit you? Well, you can go into our plan tab, which is over here on the left-hand side of the screen, and really work through what-if scenarios in your environment. And by that, I mean, what I can do here is change the time frames that we're going to archive data to. As you see right now, we're archiving data that has been accessed in 6 months or more. If I wanted to take a more conservative approach, I could move my slider out to 3 years. And if you watch what happens on the right-hand side of the screen, the numbers change. Everything got smaller naturally. All these numbers shrunk because we're archiving less data. And the amount of data that we're going to archive designated by this purple and white shaded area shrunk as well. And so you can play with this to see what makes the most sense for your environment. If you want to be real aggressive, archive everything that has been accessed in 1 month, you'll see how things change. So really, this is where you build your what-if scenarios in your environment, figure out what makes the most sense for your environment. And that's pretty much it. This is where you figure out how much you're going to get back if you archive a certain amount of data. And the last thing that I'll leave you with is once you have this, we provide this analytics by default, but we also have a module called Deep Analytics in our product that allows you to take the same analytics information we've provided, but build your own SQL type queries into that data. Find specific types of data that you want. For example, if you wanted to find all the data of an employee who may have just left, maybe his name is Paul Romano and he just left the organization, you wanted to find all his data across all the NAS shares in your infrastructure, you can build a query to do that. And then once you build that query, you can take action upon it and actually archive all that data. But that's a discussion for another day. But this is our analytics portion of our product. Very strong, powerful, as we said earlier, analytics-driven storage management. Analyze first, then make the decisions. Randy, I turn it back over to you.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you fine.
Oh, good. Yeah, there was a question. One question says, does this work with Azure and AWS Cloud NAS? Do you want to touch that one, Paul?
We do work with Cloud NAS. As a matter of fact, you can point us to a NAS share in the cloud, and we'll analyze that data as well as the on-prem data as well. We support several right out of the box. I know Azure for sure, and several NAS shares in AWS as well.
Exactly. Good Good answer. Yeah, so let me show you another perspective and add to that a little bit. With that question that came up, does this work with Cloud NAS? It absolutely does work with Cloud NAS. If you look at the Komprise setup here, the UI, if you want to add a Cloud NAS out there, you just go like this, shares, you say add a file server, you pick your Cloud NAS. I think the question was for Amazon or Azure. So here's Azure files, here's Azure NetApp files, and we'll mount that and it'll work with those just swimmingly well as well. So, so along with that that wonderful demo, there was another question: is do we have reports? Are there reports based on that data and that analysis that Paul was looking at of the savings? And there is. If you added the cost model, modify those a little bit to suit your needs, you can click on this right here and download a PDF report of exactly what generated that ROI. And you can print that out and leverage that for whatever you would like to leverage that for. And you can do that right on your site in your environment. So another thing that we can do is we actually built a pretty slick little spreadsheet, if you will, to take some of those values. If you want to make some assumptions, you can make some assumptions. And the assumptions that we were looking at before, and I'll put them in here, is about maybe a petabyte of data. The data is growing at 12% per year. What is cold data, for example? We actually see around 75 to 76% of the environments out there, of the data out there is cold, meaning it has not been accessed in more than 1 year. But for sake of example, I'll just put 50%. And then what you're paying for storage and backup costs and cloud storage and things like that. And once you do that, this it takes you over to here, and it shows you what the cost of maintaining that storage over 5 years will be if you do nothing based on the growth of that 12%, and then what the cost would be with Komprise if you put Komprise in there to tier off that cold storage or that cold data to the cloud. And then down below is another little easy view to look at. And this, what you're looking at here is if you do nothing, this would be your primary storage cost to maintain your primary storage. And then this would be your backup cost, the backup software and backup hardware. If you deploy a solution to tier that cold data to the cloud, and when I say cloud, that could be on-prem cloud or public cloud. It doesn't matter to us. Then you're going to incur some cloud costs, and that's the blue. But your backup costs will be reduced, and your primary storage costs would be reduced. And the savings is the delta here, which is about $450,000, and then growing a little bit year on year. So that's how we use the ROI tool for when looking at the solution of either like replacing my NAS with a like for like or a bigger boat, if you will, or do I want to maybe just move my hot data to an all-flash NAS or another NAS solution and then my cold data somewhere else and right place that. So that's what that's all about. Let me go back.
Randy?
Yeah.
There's a question which came up, which is, what is a typical ROI for Komprise?
Well, I'll show. This is a very typical one. What I'm showing you here. This is a very typical ROI right here. This is a very typical example would be about a petabyte growing at 12 to 13% per year, 50% cold data, and the ROI would be $1.4 million on a petabyte. And generally, what we see is about savings of about 50%. So whatever you're spending today, if you have over 500 terabytes or more, whatever you're spending today, and you have some pretty robust primary NAS, you might be replicating that to a DR site. If you take that 50 to 60 to 70% of that cold data, move it to a lower cost storage, you're going to see about 50% reduction in spend. So that's a very.
And the only other thing I would add is we have had customers out there today that have told us that Komprise has ended up paying for itself within 90 days of their initial utilization of the product. So again, it is something that provides tangible relief to your environments once you implement it in your environment.
Yeah, and the one of the things that's really cool about it is if you know you have a storage decision to make in the future, deploy Komprise, look at your environment, let Komprise help you look at your environment all over, all the silos, everything, everywhere. Leverage us to make those decisions on what you're going to do for your next storage decision. that's that. And we also will do the migration as well. Boy, we're going a little bit longer than I had planned today, but some good questions. Can you send objects to Glacier? Absolutely. There's a question out there. We can tier that cold data into AWS, and AWS has different classes of storage, and we are integrated with tiering that data within AWS to infrequently accessed IR or Glacier or Deep Glacier, and that's all configurable with Komprise. Now, if you do put it into Deep Glacier, it might take a little while to pull it back. You can pull it back if you know you're going to be accessing that data. You can pull it back if you know you are. Otherwise, your application might have to wait for a while if it is in Deep Glacier. So those are all good questions. So I did my spreadsheet live demo. Where do you go next? What's available? We do record these sessions. This is the TechKrunch series. We run one about once every month or 6 weeks. If you go to Komprise TechKrunch, there's a library of them out there. So you can go there and see what the library looks like and what sessions we've done in the past. If you have any questions, you can, let me share my screen here. The library is right here, techkomprise.com/TechKrunch. And there is a library of them out there. We do record them. And if you have questions for us, feel free to reach out to any Komprise person, or feel free to join this KTP community on LinkedIn and post a question to the group, and we'll respond there as well. So that's all we've got today. Paul, thank you so much for everything. And Polly, thanks for putting this together for us. And everybody have a great rest of the week. And we'll see you on the next TechKrunch.